the day comes where we find out President Biden is going to be our president, okay?
Right.
And it was official. It was no longer waiting. The inauguration took place. President Trump didn't show up. Everybody's sitting there saying, okay, this is our guy. This is who we have to run with. This is who's representing the free world today. He's our commander-in-chief. Fast forward from that day to today. Is today exactly what you expected it to be? Is it better? Is it worse? Or is it exactly what you thought it was going to be?
Well, I didn't have a lot of the expectations for our current president because, he basically didn't show up during the primary process and during the whole presidential campaign. And when he did show up, it wasn't particularly impressive. But I knew that there were a lot of other people who were pulling the strings. And I have a reasonable idea of who those people are. So I expected a very leftward tilt. And that's exactly what has happened.
When you say you have an idea of who those people, reasonable idea about who those people are, does the rest of America who votes also know who those people are, or is it something that only some of the people on the inside know who those people are?
I think a lot of people who've been paying attention to the general tenor of the country over the last couple of decades have a pretty good idea of who those people are.
Are you able to talk about it, or is it like a Illuminati secret type of Freemason stuff that we only get at Yale?
Well, let me just say that there are people who have been involved previously with trying to fundamentally change our country.
Internally.
Right.
So what are you talking about? Globalists, some folks that are maybe...
I think they're associated with some of the globalists.
Okay. So why would they... Let's go there. Why would they want to do that? Why would they want to fundamentally change the one country that the world uses the five-letter word dream with? We don't use the dream word with any country. The only one we've ever used it with was America, the American dream.
Well,
why are they trying to change it?
Well, remember, there have been people who have disputed the legitimacy of our governmental system since the very beginning. They said, you can't have a country that's run on the will of the people. You have to have a monarch. You have to have a ruling body. And those kinds of ideals have been around from the very beginning, and they're still there. And there are those who believe that the ruling class knows better than the people. And it's really for the good of the people that you empower those people, and that they need to do whatever they have to do in order to gain the power, in order to do, quote, good for the people, unquote.
Yeah, but when you're saying the monarch, but aren't those guys from the outside? So the argument is there's no way America can make it without us. We're a monarch, right? They desperately need us. Versus in this case, you're saying last 20 years, these are people on the inside. Why are people on the inside trying to break apart the one idea that turned into this experiment that turned into what it is today?
Power. They want power. They want control. It's a natural tendency. It's a human tendency to want to control everybody, to want to control your environment. And that's why if you go back through history and you look at various societies, there is no period of time where people can just live in peace, where they can just live and let live. No, I got to control you. I got to take your stuff. I got to be in control of it.
So you're saying we're all like that?
We're like that. But that is the very reason that the founders of our country worked so hard on our Constitution, because they knew there was a natural tendency to want to control, a natural tendency for government to want to grow, to infiltrate, and to control. And it was to give the people a tool which would allow us to remain free. It is being challenged, probably to the severest degree right now.
So were they also driven by power, the founders?
They were different.
Tell me in what way?
Because they actually, people like George Washington declined to be made a monarch. People wanted him to be the monarch.
Mm-hmm.
He said, no, that's not the system that we have. This is about the people. and the freedom of the people. And you look at, John Adams, and, he said our Constitution was designed for a moral and religious people and is wholly inadequate for the governance of any other. You look at some of the writings of people like Thomas Jefferson, who realized how important it was for people to maintain freedom. And even though he had slaves, and several of the founders had slaves, several didn't, but several did, most of them ended up freeing their slaves. And I think realizing the internal conflict, when you're saying that all men are created equal, but then you have slaves. But, those who hate the United States have tried to make slavery a unique issue for us. And they say we are particularly evil because we had slavery. But if you know anything about world history, you know that virtually every society has to deal with slavery. And that there are more slaves in the world today than there have ever been at any point in time when you look at human trafficking. And the number one consumer of it, the United States of America. So do we still have some issues? Absolutely, there's no question about it. But we're not unique because of slavery. We are unique only in the sense that we had so many people who were vehemently opposed to slavery that we fought a bloody civil war to get rid of it. And that's really what we need to teach our children. We need to teach them that during slavery, there were a lot of people from all kinds of backgrounds who, established the Underground Railroad, who did all kinds of things to try to undermine that concept of human bondage.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.